Hello everyone, and welcome back to my kitchen, and most importantly, welcome back to the 12 Days of Christmas. Today I'm going to show you a super easy Christmas morning breakfast recipe that is sure to impress your family. Typically, my family likes to have just cinnamon rolls for breakfast, but sometimes if you just have a cinnamon roll on Christmas morning, you are not feeling that great and you're kind of wanting a little bit more of a healthier option, or maybe something with a little bit more protein. So this is actually the perfect recipe for that. We've made it so many times, so it's good for Christmas morning, but it's also good for just anytime you want a special breakfast in the morning. It is a French toast casserole. And this is super exciting because it's using some of our sourdough bread that we make homemade. So if you have some leftover sourdough bread that you don't want to go to waste, this is the perfect recipe to use that up. Alrighty, so first things first, here is the loaf of bread that we were kind of working on this week, but didn't finish the whole thing. But that is actually the perfect thing for this recipe because you don't want that bread to go to waste. And I don't know about you, but if you're cooking for any amount of people and you're going to be making French toast, that is going to be so much time standing at the stove, flipping your bread. This is a make ahead, pop it in the oven the next morning, and then you're ready to go. So I'm just getting all of the bread out. So first we're going to start out with kind of our scrap pieces. It's mostly the heels that get left in the bottom of the bag, but it is okay. I know that sourdough bread kind of has not a tougher crust, but it's definitely very crispy when it comes out of the oven. But where this is going to be sitting in our milk egg mixture, either for a couple of hours for me today or all night if you're prepping this Christmas Eve night to have Christmas morning, it'll absorb all of that liquid and just become nice and soft. So all I'm doing is cutting the little pieces of bread into bite-sized cubes, and all we're gonna do is, after they're chopped, pop them in the Pyrex. Alrighty, so believe it or not, just by having our little bread cubes already chopped, we are halfway there. All we have to do now is focus on the wet mixture. So I went ahead and put half of a cup of butter into my little white bowl and microwaved it. So now it is nice and melted. So that step is done. Now just going down through our recipe, we have our half cup of butter, 1 cup of brown sugar. This can be to taste. I don't usually add the full cup. I just kind of do almost a heaping half cup, and we'll just add that in. The brown sugar portion, you can choose to do it to your own preference. So we'll just give that a mix. Perfect. And you're not gonna have to worry about this not being sweet enough because of course this is a French toast casserole. So after it's done and out of the oven, you're going to portion it onto everyone's plates and then you top it with maple syrup. So it will be plenty sweet, trust me. The next ingredient is 6 eggs. I usually go for 12 eggs just to have a little bit more protein, but you can stick to 6 if you would like. quite the stack. Okay, again, just give it a little mix. I definitely needed to switch out to a bigger bowl. I forgot how much this actually made, which isn't a bad thing, but just make sure that when you're making this, pick a bowl that's big enough so that you can actually mix everything together. Now, 2 cups of milk. This is a half cup measure, so I have to do 4. Next up is our vanilla extract. Had to put my fingers there because this is homemade vanilla extract with, my mom makes it. It is vanilla beans and I believe vodka, but when you're getting to the end, you have to kind of block the end of the bottle, otherwise you're gonna have a vanilla bean in your mix. Next is 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, but go ahead and measure with your heart. I always like a good amount of cinnamon. Now just go ahead and do the final mix. This is just the easiest recipe because this is essentially it. You can do all of this the night before, so you don't even have to worry about having your kitchen messy on Christmas morning. And I know that Christmas morning is typically a pretty early wake-up call for most people. So if you are the type of person that needs to eat as soon as you wake up, this is ready to pop in the oven. It's honestly perfect. Now we're just gonna pour this over the bread. So now I'm just gonna take a little spoon and kind of mix it around just to make sure that most of the bread is soaking in the liquid. And you don't have to make sure that every piece is well incorporated, because Evan's favorite pieces are actually the little pieces at the top that haven't been soaked in the milk and egg mixture, and they get pretty crispy in the oven. So if you have a little bit of both, then that's good. Now just try and make sure that everything is put into an even layer as good as you can. So you're gonna be able to see on my spoon, well, you might be able to see, but there's some little chunks of butter. I know we melted the butter, but by adding the cold eggs and the cold milk, it kind of made it go a little bit solid, but it's fine. It's not an issue at all. It will melt once it's in the oven and baking and everything, so that's not an issue. This next step is completely optional. Even the recipe does say to use some cinnamon and some brown sugar to add an extra topping, but I think this is sweet enough for us. But something that this is missing is some fruit. So we actually like to take a little scoopful of blueberries and put it on top. And when they bake in the oven, they get all nice and warm and they almost pop. But it's kind of almost like having a jam on top of your French toast. And it just makes it a little bit more healthy. So go ahead and add as many blueberries as you would like. We're just using this Costco bag of blueberries, but I have also done it with wild blueberries that we've picked, or I believe these ones are high bush blueberries, but that's kind of a lot of blueberries, but that just means it's going to be extra delicious. This also doesn't have to just be blueberries. You can add, honestly, whatever fruit your family likes. You could even go to the store and get a bag of frozen mixed berries, which I think would be delicious. But yeah, so this is definitely very customizable for your family and their preferences. So there we go. We just did Christmas morning breakfast. It's all done. We honestly didn't go through that many dishes. We have one extra bowl because I didn't pick the right size, but that's okay. Imagine this, you wake up Christmas morning, take your lovely little casserole out of the fridge, pop it in the oven, go open presents with your family, and then in 25 to 30 minutes, having a homemade, delicious, satisfying, and filling breakfast for your family. You can't beat it. So I will go ahead, put this in my fridge to sit for a few hours, and we'll come back in a little bit and bake it. So now that it's been a few hours, we turned on our oven at 425, and now we're just going to pop this in the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. Just enough time for the top to get all nice and golden brown and the egg to be fully cooked through. Our casserole is now completely done and out of the oven. We are then going to portion it out on plates and add some of our very own homemade maple syrup on top. Thanks so much for spending another day in the kitchen with me, and I hope your family enjoys this easy meal prepped Christmas breakfast. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!